648 matches, 376 losses. Those are my numbers. And for the next 18 minutes, you're going to hear a lot about losses. But more importantly, you're going to hear about what they build. Because if I had to sum up the 25 years of my life, I would call it a journey of persistent failure and unbreakable resilience. I was born in Nanded, brought up in Pune. I did my schooling at V.K. Patil Memorial School, where very early on, my teachers realized that teaching me wasn't going to be an easy task. With the kind of a chap that I was, my parents had become frequent visitors at school. Not for PTMs, but mostly for apologies. So because of the kind of chap I was, my teachers recommended me to go to a psychologist. The psychologist was of the opinion that he must be enrolled into some kind of a sport, some kind of an individual sport that will help him prosper. Now I was a boy who loved football. Badminton was no sport for me. But listening to the psychologist, my parents enrolled me into a badminton training club near our house. Years passed, I was improving but not winning. My very first coach trainer also realized that coaching was not going to be an easy task for him. He was of the opinion that I must enroll into some other sport if I wanted to excel. Somehow, my parents believed in me. They enrolled me into a different training center instead. I too started showing up differently, this time with a lot of focus. When most of the kids my age were going for parties and gigs, I was on court, training, failing, and repeating. And that's where the whole shift began. Not just in perspective, not just in performance, but in whole perspective. In 2015, I won my first ever Pune district championship and remained undefeated for the next 3 years. Thank you. That same year, I was also invited as the chief guest at my school. Now, imagine a mother who had heard only 12 years of complaints. I had the opportunity to make her sit on the front row and this time listen to applauds instead of my mischiefs. And ladies and gentlemen, that I believe was one of the highest accomplishments of my life. Now, from a boy who sported a racket at a late age and was bluntly told that he could never make it into the sports, to a boy who went on to represent India in World Tour Super Series tournaments and signed autographs all across the world, I believe that sports has been the fondest gifts of my life. It has also been a great teacher. One of my most memorable days occurred at the age of 18 when I was playing at the All India level. In All India tournaments, you have to qualify to make it into the top 32 in the country. 16 out of 32 are pre-qualified and 16 go through a grueling knockout stage which goes on with 1,000 other participants. Now the reason why it becomes so challenging is because as an average athlete, you train for 8 hours for 4 to 5 days a week. But whereas in an actual tournament, you have to do everything that you do in those 8 hours in just a span of 20 minutes. The games are super fast. The schedules are super late. And at times, an athlete plays his match at even 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. For 30 times, for 4 straight years, I failed in the final round of the qualifying. It had almost become a mental barrier for me and my partner. We would defeat tough opponents in the initial rounds and lose out to even the easiest in the final round. For 30 tournaments, for 4 straight years, we would call our parents back home and we would tell them that our final round harlo, which in English translates to we lost the final round. And even though we lost many times, we stayed loyal to each other. And that is what eventually made all the difference. There were days where I would mess up completely, and there were days where my partner erred. But we would stick together, push together, and move on and get ready for the next one. On a cold morning in Sikkim, we were to play our final rounds against the second seeds of the Senior All India tournament. In the opening game, my partner smiled and he said, "Bhau, माझ्याकडनं काही control होत नाहीये." He said he couldn't control the shuttle at all. In the opening game, we lost without any resistance. In the second game, we started off well, but in the second game, we were 18-13 down. Now, for everybody who plays badminton here would know that 18-13 is almost done and dusted. I had already started making travel plans across Sikkim. But somehow, a long rally took place at 18-13 that changed everything for us. We defended for the next 8 points. And we won the second game with a score of 21-19. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't clap. The third game was still left. Now in the third game, we again started off well, hoping that there would be no travel plans the next day. But somehow, we being we showed our talent to the zenith. And this time, we were 19-13 down. Comebacks are relatively imaginable in a singles kind of a game, but they are nearly impossible in a doubles kind of a scenario because the probability of making errors increases with speed. Again, somehow, we managed to defend everything that came at us. And in the deciding game, we won with a score of 26-24. Now you can clap. We were waiting for this moment for 4 years. 4 years of persistent training. The whole stadium couldn't believe what they had just seen. We saw almost everybody touching their heads in surprise. I cannot forget that day. Me and my partner were in tears on court. The feeling was beyond words, something unparalleled. There will be tougher games ahead. There will be better comebacks ahead. But this one match shall always hold a special place in my heart. We called back home after this game. And we had to tell our surprised parents that this time we final round jinklo, which in English means that we won the final round. After that game, we qualified in every game we played. The losses had made us stronger and helped us build a very strong mindset. The first lesson that I learned here was that you can lose as many times as you want, but the urge to win should always stay. Some athletes realize it early, some take time. I took time to realize that the only difference between winning and losing tough games is the belief factor. Another important lesson that sports teaches you is that self-growth happens only when you help others grow. Me and my partner, we had options to switch partners in all those 4 years. Our coaches recommended us to change partners, but we never did. And you will be glad to know today that my partner stands in the list of one of the best badminton players in the country and is also a part of the national team. Now, no sport is perfect. A lot of athletes and badminton players these days do come out and speak about inequalities and politics in sports. I've had my share of disappointments too. Despite being one of the best, I was denied a place in one of the local teams. Fighting organizational battles and decisions is not an easy task, but for all young athletes and people sitting out here, I have this one message. Be it sports or be it other situations in life, always believe that there is something else that is meant to be, if not this. In 2019, when all my friends had a place in one of the local teams, I was the only one left out. I contemplated on quitting sports. I remember deciding not to touch my kit bag for a while, but it was precisely then that I got my first ever opportunity to play my first ever international tournament in Dubai. None of my friends made it there. It was only my partner and I who got an entry, and this time we were promoted to the main draw, so we did not have to go through that 4 years of struggle. Now, the point being is that I realized that there is always something else that is better and reserved for you ahead. Just trust the process. That year itself, I also became one of the very few Indians to be invited to play in Germany in the national league there. I was only 19 when I traveled to Germany. I was one of the youngest in the team. Playing on a foreign land for a foreign team, that sort of a pressure is completely different. And it's at a very high level that you play that. Despite being the youngest, I volunteered to becoming the captain of a team. Now we had players coming from China, from Netherlands, from Poland and Germany. Sounds cool, right? But let me be very honest with you. We weren't bonding as a team. We were winning games, but there were a lack of communication that was happening between us. And as the team captain, I had to do something about it. So I did something that nobody in Germany could deny. Any guesses here? Cool. Exactly. So I invited my team members I cooked butter chicken for them and invited them for some beer. And that night, we didn't just eat, we became a team. I was invited to Germany 2 years after that, and I would not like to believe that it was for my cooking skills that I was invited there. That year, unfortunately, the league had to be cancelled because of COVID. In 2021, I was invited back again. This time again, I chose up to take the captaincy. And this time, we were supposed to play 18 matches, which is a total of 96 games across Germany. This time, we were undefeated. And I personally also set a record of not losing a single game in that particular season. After returning back from Germany, I realized that I wanted something different from myself. I realized that I wanted something more from myself. Now, here's the truth about sports. An athlete's life is very short. 10-15 years if all goes well. Most of us won't make it to the Olympics. Some of us won't even make a livelihood out of sports. But what happens to the abilities that one earns on trying to becoming the world's best? Let's see this interesting infographic. According to Cornell University research and Drive Group infographic, about 80% of Fortune 500 CEOs and 94% of C-suite women were former collegiate athletes. Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of Pepsi and Company, John Donahoe, the former CEO of Nike, and Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. These are some of the greatest examples of athletic success. So clearly, athletes have the ability to translate their high performance habits and become high performing business professionals and change makers. Now let me tell you how and why. Number one, goal oriented mindset. From a very young age onwards, athletes are taught how to set clear and tangible goals and the ways to achieve them. Now this isn't just about winning a particular game or a match, but about incremental changes like focusing on that one muscle, focusing on that one particular stroke. In corporates too, this translates into smashing sales targets, strategic planning as a team. Number two, collaborative and team driven spirit. Remember, me and my partner, we had options to switch partners, but we never did. It's because we knew the true essence of sportsman spirit and we knew the true essence of teamwork. If you're looking for performance driven individuals, it is going to be individuals who understand the essence of teamwork. Athletes are people who understand the value of retention naturally. These are the people who are going to fight till the end in the most toughest of the times. Number 3, unwavering commitment and resilience. When I was training in the National Center, there were days where I felt completely sore. On these particular days, I would text my coach requesting him to take an off for a particular session. But the kind of words of wisdom that he used in his replies, which I can't use here, made me run from my bed to the court within minutes. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is that through words of wisdom or through discipline or through competition, sports is going to teach you to be disciplined, and it will bring your work ethics on point. Sports teaches you to play by the rules. It teaches you integrity, and such a quality not only makes a good leader, but also a great individual for the nation. Number 4, and most important, excellence under pressure and relentless growth. Be it serving an ace in the most crucial of times, or Mahendra Singh Dhoni hitting a 6 on the last ball of the over. Athletes, I believe, take handling pressure as a responsibility. Their ability to manage high pressure situations not only helps them in the corporate field, but across different sectors like armed forces, public services, technology, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. Overall, as leaders and change makers, athletes can inspire and foster positive changes beyond the world of sports and in the larger interests of the society. So, what has sports given me? It gave me losses. It gave me heartbreaks. It gave me unfair decisions and painful rejections. It gave me sleepless nights, and it gave me early mornings. But more than anything, it gave me clarity. It showed me a mirror. And in that mirror, I didn't just see a player. I saw a leader. I saw a fighter. I saw a change maker. And I saw a learner. Because for athletes, it's never just about the game. It's about who you become because of it. That's why, even when the matches end, even when the lights go out, even when the applause fades, the mindset stays. The hunger, the fire, the integrity, they all stay. So I leave you here with this. That sports will end for every athlete, but the sportsman within, the leader, the change maker, the spirit will always stay. It will never retire. It will always reinvent. Because we may lose the match, but we will never lose the mindset. We will never lose the grit. At the end of the day, I wasn't the boy who won 648 matches. I was the one who lost 376 and still continued to show up for the next one. And even today, I still continue to show up every day. And that maybe, just maybe, that's what resilience is all about. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pleasure speaking here.